Sydney's number one podcast, West Underground.
And welcome to another episode of West Underground. Remember to like and subscribe. And today we are joined by none other than Veptune.
Hello. How are we?
Yeah, good, man.
Yeah,
Welcome
good.
to our home.
Thanks for having me.
This is where we all live.
In this room?
This is where we all sleep.
So under around here?
No, just
Or
right here.
On like
Just right here.
Do you sit up and sleep?
This is our local commune.
Kind of like a crackhead, just like
Yeah.
no crackhead that would just fall asleep at the kitchen table. Just
We'll sleep wherever they are.
just
That's what
like
we
that.
do.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome, man. I've been looking forward to getting you in here.
Yeah,
I put a bit of legwork in.
Yeah.
Like this is about 6 months in the making.
Yeah.
Getting you here. It's so funny when I met him for the first time. We were like sat around. We were all like listening to music, and the conversation came up about this podcast. And then it was like, "Oh, I do music." I went, "Oh, do you?"
Yeah.
And then he was showing me some stuff, and I went, "Oh yeah, that." So it's been a process getting you there.
It's always a bit of show and tell, and then they're hooked and they want to hear more.
Absolutely.
So we were talking off air, and you've had a bit of an interesting journey. Like it's a bit unorthodox compared to most people's venture into music, in the sense that you've almost come, you're crossing genres almost.
I am. Yes, I've came from that indie rock scene, because I think when you're in Sydney and you're a young teenager, all the music is just young boys, long hair, stoners, rock bands, and that's really the only place you can find yourself. And I kind of started just wanting to be a singer realistically, and was in these bands, and I just never really connected with that scene. I always feel like it's almost outdated and it's just not that interesting anymore. Like, I don't think that this, like, it just wasn't doing it for me. This indie rock, whatever it was, like 4 long-haired losers in a band. I was just like, no, I need to teach myself how to produce. And then that just started the journey of being like, okay, yeah, I can sing. Yeah, I can write okay. But I'm relying on guitarists, bass player, drummers. 4 men in their mid-20s showing up in one room. It's a miracle. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Try doing a podcast.
It doesn't happen. So I just went laptop, Logic, download Logic, bought that little keyboard, and just went in. And probably for the last 10 years have just been cracking away at that, and just have became so engrossed in the production work that I've almost come to this point where I'm like producing techno and not singing enough anymore.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting, because it's like my production skills almost overcame my love of singing, and then now I'm at a place where I'm coming back full circle and being able to produce my own music, sing over it, mix it, master it, do everything. And now I'm just at this place where I'm ready to just fucking burst. And it's just like a matter of, what am I going to do with the eclecticness of it all? And I'm refusing to really settle and be one thing, one trick pony, one sort of star. I'm just not going to do it, because I don't think I have to.
And I think that's like when we had Cyan the other week. I love that. It's inspiring, that of, well, no, I don't need to rely on other people. I can do this myself.
I can. And
for myself. And it can be whatever you want it to be as well.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
And I love being with other people and creating, but it's like, I never want to be in a band with someone else. If I'm ever working with someone else, I just want it to be Veptune, whoever they are. You know, I think that's the way forward with stuff. And I think lifting other people up through like being a producer and having that's the way forward for me. Is just connecting with as many people, coming in, meeting you guys, telling you guys my story, meeting other people, getting other people on my tracks, lifting all my friends up, and just time to fucking do it.
Yeah,
It's
I
time.
mean, and if you start like that and you start it like and put out a record or something where you are putting out a circus, essentially you're putting out a bunch of different things into one.
It is, yeah. How do you
Then
get
you're
that
going to be
cohesiveness?
you're going to be the circus guy. You know what I mean? That's going to be your thing.
What are
He's
they?
going to be
Are they
having
conductors in the circus? What are they?
Uh,
You're gonna be
a circus conductor.
you're gonna be the greatest showman.
When you spin the stick and catch it, and you got the top hat. Yeah, I'd like that. That's a bit of a look. I forgot what I was going to say about something else. Ask me another question. I'll remember.
How much have you spent on plugins and stuff like that?
Over the, I have just a few go-tos at the moment.
Yeah.
Like I've got Serum and I've got Cypher, and that's like where I'm getting all my atmospheric synth sounds from.
Yeah.
I do have all of the Isotope plugins and all that stuff. Yeah, there's thousands of dollars over the years, but like I'm definitely a proponent of not being the all the gear, no idea guy. I don't think that. I think some people are just missing something creatively, and they like bolster that by buying expensive gear, expensive equipment, and masking. And I don't believe you need obviously the bare minimum to sound good, but you don't need.
It's like when
You
you
don't need
It's
everything.
like when you watch bands and they quite clearly can't play their instruments,
Yeah,
but they've got like a 10 grand Les Paul.
and like
They're putting it through
3,000 pedals.
and they're putting it through all this stuff, and you think you're not that good of a player. You're just putting
Bells and whistles.
bells and whistles.
Yeah. So, and I feel that a lot, and I'm interested in performing in a certain way as well. Like, I remember seeing Kanye back in like 2011 or something, and it was back when he was wearing those $200,000 jewel encrusted masks on stage. But he had nothing on stage. He had his little. It was when he did Runaway, and he was going ding, ding, and he just had 2 buttons on stage. That's all he had, and he was just like, "It's the best show I'd ever seen." And I just feel as though I want some sort of like this minimalist approach, almost just no band production, decks, visuals, like almost just me under a big fucking projector screen, and like very specific, detailed psychedelic visuals, and just this entire fucking experience. I just want to change. I want to do it different. I want it to be performance art. I want to dress and drag. I want to, just be that greatest showman, I guess.
Yeah.
Circus freak. Yeah. I think that's the way to go with it for me. But yeah.
So like from the beginning, like when you were saying back when you were playing in bands and stuff, the fact you knew straight away this wasn't your genre, and you were like, no, I want to do this, but I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like when did you break from that mold? When did that happen?
So I would say it's when, so there was an initial group of friends that I made music with.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Billick, one of the best guitarists I know. He was my next door neighbor growing up, and he's definitely my inspiration into getting into music in the first place, because our bedrooms would be like 10 meters across from each other, and I'd hear him shredding Jimi Hendrix all along the Watchtower at like 8 years old, perfectly. And I watched him just grow into this incredibly amazing guitarist, producer, everything. He taught me everything I knew at first, taught me how to use Logic, taught me how to play guitar. And he was always the star, and he is a star, but he's a rock and roller, and he's an excellent guitarist. And I guess how good he was at guitar and how bad I was at instruments made me want to like veer into something that I could have for myself, because I was always going to feel as though I was in his shadow, because he was so talented at this thing. So I was in bands with him, and we were always together, and it was always him, me, And when I kind of just said, when I got enough confidence to be like, no, I can do music too. Like, I understand enough now too. And it just took me a few years longer than him because he'd been doing it all his life. And once I hit that point and I was confident and I could write my own songs and I didn't need his help to help me logic or do anything, that's when I went, you know what, love you, but step away, do my own thing. And yeah, haven't looked back since then. That's the moment. It just took me a long time to be like, yeah, I'm enough. I can do this. And like still to this day I struggle with that. But yeah, we're here now, aren't we? We're doing it. We're doing it. We're out here.
Where does the name come from?
It's actually a really good story. I saw it in my mind's eye when I was tripping absolute balls of mushrooms.
Hi, Mom. I know you're always watching. Hi, Mom. I've never done that.
Yeah, this is a made up story, Mum. I was at this festival called Sci-Fi back when I was 21 or so. And it was day 3 of the festival, and
It's always the best day.
everything had kind of run out. All the beers had run out, and we just had these mushrooms left, and it was like 11 p.m. on a Sunday night. Had these mushrooms on toast. I remember it.
Sounds really gross.
It was gross, and we went back into the party, back into the festival for an hour or two. The mushrooms hadn't really kicked in. We were kind of like, all right, we're tired, let's go to bed. Walking back to the campsite, like the stars. I've never had this feeling before, but my jaw locked up. I was like, and the stars fell out of the sky.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot about the mushrooms. I was ready for bed. And I was just like, okay, back in the tent. I'm like, too hot and claustrophobic to be inside, but it's freezing cold outside. So I end up like putting myself where my legs were in the tent, my head's outside, and I'm tripping such major balls that like I can barely sit up. I'm kind of like losing my senses, and when I close my eyes, I'm having more vivid vision than when my eyes are open. So I'm opening my eyes and I'm closing, and the closed eyes reality is more vivid. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. And then I'm start losing the ability to talk. I'm kind of just like floral, like real muffly. And that's when these words started flashing in my mind. They weren't real words. They weren't English words. And I feel, looking back, I think it's almost like I was regressing back into a 2 or 3 year old child that hadn't learnt words yet. So it was like, I think that this word Veptune would have been a word that I thought was a real word when I was 1 or 2 or 3 and I was just getting my language together.
Yeah.
So it's like, it should have been Neptune, but it was just this wrong. And it just flashed. I was like, oh, that's a cool, like something was still conscious there. And I was like, oh, that's a cool word. And yeah, I just stuck with it, and I just tattooed it on my leg one day, and I just
so you didn't forget it.
Just so I didn't forget it. And yeah, and the like vivid hallucinations I had after that, and the dreams I had that night, I had this really, really vivid feeling that I was a couple of 100 years in the future, and I was watching these archaeologists discovering this place the festival had been, and trying to work out what had been going on. They're like, oh, there's lots of stomping happening. We don't know why these humans were gathered in this place, but there's all this evidence, and they're like really confused about what's happened on this land.
You've got me feeling like I'm on mushrooms right now.
Did you see anything in the future that was a takeaway?
No, I was
great
flying
inventions?
across some beautiful mountains and stuff like that. But the main takeaways that I remember now is that, because it didn't feel like a dream or anything. It felt like I really was in the future, like watching them. I was like, it's possible that that's real. Like, maybe.
Well, that's a good story.
Maybe it did happen.
Yeah, maybe it will happen, you mean?
something to worry about. It is cool
They're
though.
gonna be like,
It is,
and they watch this podcast and then they put it all together.
yeah,
Like, oh,
we figured that
we
out.
worked it out.
That's what we're doing now.
That's what we're
What
doing.
would have been left for them to even pick up on that?
I don't know. Maybe like, well, you know, when like the dance floor gets really compressed in the mud, I feel like all the air in the mud would be like weird for a long time, like from all the people stomping on it.
Yeah.
So they were like digging up the grass and realizing something weird had happened there. I don't know.
This could be a film.
Yeah,
It could be a film.
why? Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be.
You're like, you're gonna,
It's a film in my head.
yeah. Well, you lived it.
Yeah, I did. But,
Christopher,
yeah.
Spaceman came traveling down.
Mm.
You're just in your tent.
Yeah.
Like, how long does it take for plastics to break down? I suppose that would be
Thousands
also.
of
in the
years.
Well,
ground
that's
as
the funny
yeah.
thing about this festival is like, it was like a rubbish-free festival. Like we somehow,
Is that like no bad music?
yeah, they just were like, made us really all clean up our rubbish. And like, you know, if you've been to like, oh, sorry, I missed it. What?
Bad joke. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, like it was actually a really amazing festival. I don't know if it's still running, but not a single drop of rubbish was left afterwards. It's really cool. Like you've been at the end of Splendor and it's just disgusting.
Yeah. Did you ever go to the like the festival a couple of years ago? I don't know if it runs anymore. It was called Camden, like the Camden Secret Garden Festival.
Yeah, the Secret Garden. Oh, I don't think I ever went, but yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
So you didn't go, or you
No, I
did?
haven't been. I
Oh.
haven't been. What's the last festival I've been to? I watched that Woodstock '99 documentary. Have you
Oh
seen
my
that?
God! What
So-
did you think? What a train
so
wreck!
messed up.
Terrifying.
It's so messed up.
It looked terrifying.
I couldn't believe those people that were like, "Yeah, it was crazy, but I would go again." And you're like, "You."
Yeah, like when the sun's beating down and they're all like trying to find shade and none of them can find it and no one can get water. None of the water's working.
It's the pure greed aspect of that festival.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was gross. And even in the doco, like the head guy, he was still using his legal banter, making sure he hadn't said anything. He was still like, "Oh yeah, it wasn't that bad." Yeah, it's like, dude,
yeah, because
hectic.
when he gets sued, but it's just like festivals are pretty rank anyway, aren't they? I think we can all accept that. You know what I mean? You go to those toilets, the long drop toilets or whatever, after 3 days of people MDMA shitting into them.
Oh my
It's
god.
just it's disgusting. I said to my missus, I was like, I bet you, like I couldn't do, like I've been Glastonbury like 3 times. I couldn't do that festival again. Not now. Not now that
I need like
I'm
a nice
a civilian. I
Yeah,
can't get in there.
need like a nice place to go to
Yeah.
afterwards. I'd say, yeah,
Yeah, like a hotel.
yeah, hotel.
Like
I
Palm
think I don't know if
Springs.
I could. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's fun to rough it. I wouldn't mind 3-day acid bender out in the bush.
I'm just
somewhere
going. I'm just going for the love of the music, mate.
Yeah, me
Always.
too. And acid. I guess.
Yeah, and mostly the love of the music. But yeah, it is crazy to think like
Sorry, Mum.
what happened there. It was just so poorly planned. It was ridiculous.
And I also think it's just like such a, you know, you had the like the original Woodstock, right? And you think of what the cultural impact of that was,
It was, yeah.
and what the vibe was like, and then you book Woodstock '99, and you put like the heaviest hardcore bands
Yeah,
on
but that's the thing. The music is so wrong for.
for the Woodstock.
They're like,
yeah.
oh, we'll get Willie Nelson on. That'll cheer everyone up. And you're like, I don't think Willie Nelson's gonna be enough.
Yeah, you had like Willie Nelson and James Brown were probably the only two like fitting
Yeah.
choices. The rest were kind of like Korn at a festival supposed to be about peace, love, and
It's pretty wild.
it's like
But the footage of Korn playing, there's 100,000 of them moving. It's just like,
scary,
whoa,
man.
dude.
It's one of those things where you go, oh my God, like it's unbelievable the amount of people and the amount of people
believe
who
it.
are all in for the same thing. But it shows, you know, like that, what's the broken window theory? If you go into an area and there's like a smashed shop or whatever and litter on the ground, it's like, well, that's acceptable here.
Yeah.
And I think they just got herded like wild animals. And it
For
was like,
sure.
okay, we will be the animals now.
Yeah.
And it is scary to watch because
It
but
Because they turn.
they do
Yeah.
turn.
They turn.
But humanity, you're watching humanity turn, but at the same time, you know, like
Rightfully so, almost.
yeah, like the ones who did it worse with them, like, oh, you don't need water at this festival. You need Dr. Pepper. You know what I mean? Like it's just the amount of corporate greed that led them to that point.
That's why we use Rode microphones in here, not Shure after.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, when I was in high school, I was in about year 9, and there was a guy that I was friends with. He was a metalhead, and I remember him showing me the footage of Korn at Woodstock, and I remember just watching, like, and they show the crowd, like, and everybody just jumping up and down and looking crazy, and like scared me then. And then to watch it like unfold all, you know, and be put in this documentary, and you get to just see the whole thing fall apart.
I've never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah, I hadn't
Woodstock
heard of it.
99. I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Not before that. I hadn't either, yeah.
Really?
How old are you?
28.
Yeah, well, you know, we were nippers.
We were nippers.
We were little
I
babies.
think I heard about it because I saw a book one day, maybe in the shops, and it was like titled Woodstock 99. It was like a photo, like, you know, collection from that thing. And I was like, there's another Woodstock? I thought there was only the one, you know?
I think that's probably why we never heard about it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of hush-hush
Yeah.
after
Let's
that.
not talk about it. We went to play a festival. It was called Hope and Glory Festival. Anyone watching in Liverpool, England, you'll remember this. And it was in 2017. And they booked St. George's Hall in Liverpool, which is like not a very big footprint. And they were like, well, we're going to put 3 stages in there. We're going to have like a 2-day festival. And they booked some pretty big bands, but didn't get enough security and oversold it by 30,000 tickets.
Oh my God.
Right? And there was just swarms of people. There wasn't enough toilets or anything like that. And that, like, I'm from Liverpool as well, which is like, we've had like Hillsborough and Highzone. We've had these like big crushes of people, you know, just where things aren't managed right. And you're in there and you're saying to yourself, oh, I can see this going that way. And people were leaving because they were like, this isn't worth it. And then it got stopped on the Sunday because they were like health and safety wise, it was just a no-go. I think it was like 25,000 people more in there that shouldn't have been in there. There was like no security, so you could just go in, even though it was like a sold event and like all hoarded.
Yeah.
And the guy who organised it just disappeared. He put a post on Facebook and it literally just said, no festival today. And then like he's never heard from again. He like owes all the bands money and stuff. And what's funny about that is we did a radio station in Liverpool, and they asked us, the festival organisers asked us if we'd do it. So we're like the young band from the city who've like, you know, like been out, made a name, got onto this festival, and the organiser. So it's out there of like an hour-long interview of like us and him, and like I'm like, yeah, Lee's such a great guy, you know, like doing all like and then he became like the most hated man in the music scene. I'm like this to people. I didn't really know him. He just got me a good gig.
Nothing you could do.
I felt like Colin Powell when they were talking about WMDs in Iraq, and he's like, yeah, they're there. I've seen it. It's like he didn't know. Allegedly.
So if you just to get back a little bit, if
yes.
you're producing your own music now, are you like if you obviously play guitar, that was your first instrument, yeah, am I?
Yeah, I was never amazing. I just taught myself some chords, but
I think his first instrument was his voice.
Yeah,
I think you'll find.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of the thing, actually, if you go back to high school and probably year 10 when you get to choose your electives for the final 2 years of school, I hadn't even chosen music. I had chosen drama because I wanted to write. I liked writing plays and like monologues and shit like that. And I was, I'd like won a short film competition at school and was doing that kind of stuff. But I think I was the only person that chose drama out of the entire year. Christian Brothers Lewisham, shout out, heaps creative. And so there was no class. So music was my fourth elective, and I'd played a bit of trumpet growing up, and could sing. So I was like, I'll do music. And I never really was wanting to do physics or advanced maths or anything like that. I wanted to do creative subjects. I did like advanced English and all the like righty subjects, and music just was kind of there. And I don't know, it just took hold of me in those 2 years. I had a really good teacher, Jody Ol, shout out again. Very inspiring. I got lessons, I got singing lessons. I did all the right things, learned how to breathe properly. I used to sing like, you know, you don't even know how to use your diaphragm at first. You got this whispery kind of try hard voice, and eventually learned to actually get deep into my vibrato and hit notes powerfully. And suddenly I was like, okay, I can actually do this. And by the time I did my HSC, I was still shit, but I could sing at that point, you know? And it's interesting how it happened, because it kind of happened by chance. But it's always, even moving forward, like music is music, but it's really just creation in general that I like. Like I've been writing a book, I've been conceptualizing film clips, I've been doing essays and thought experiments, and going back to uni, doing my masters. And, you know, like as much as music is my thing, it's creativity in general that gets me going. Doing something together with something, creating something that wasn't there before, something out of nothing. That's what's special.
Yeah, 100%.
Or anything to leave behind. Like, I guess that's it. Like, fundamentally for me, it's like when you go through that, I guess everyone gets there at some point. It's like a quarter life crisis, or like a nervous breakdown where you're just like, what the fuck is the point of life? Like, honestly, what's the fucking point? Like, it's absurd. Like, reality, existence is absurd. And you get to that point and you're like, what is my purpose? What am I going to do? What makes you happy? That's the only thing you need to do. Like, the only meaning you're going to get, the only meaning you're going to find in life is the thing that makes you happy. So I just, realized that I realized
that was awesome, man. That was really, really good.
Well, I think you did.
So true as well.
It's true. And it's just like, literally anyone listening, like, do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Because nothing else is going to sustain you. Because if you're not passionate, you're not going to have the energy. You're not going to have the energy to do something you're not passionate about. You're going to run into a wall, and you're going to hate your fucking life.
And honestly, if you find anything that you are passionate about, you will do really well. Do you know what I mean? Because there was no time limit on. There's no constraints on things. It is just you doing what you love. So you'll find you'll just slip in and you'll put 12 hours into something without even realizing.
It doesn't feel like work.
What's the Jim Carrey quote on that? And he's talking about his old man. And he said, like, his old man.
I think he said, my girlfriend committed suicide because I was so abusive towards her. I heard. Is that the quote? Allegedly.
Oh,
yeah.
You're going so well. You just tried to. Oh, Jim Carrey. Oh, allegedly. I just weren't expecting that. Will we get demonetized with that? Who knows? Jim Carrey's been very powerful.
He's very talented, man. I'm sure. The mask,
The quotes. It feels pointless saying it now.
No, say it. I'm sorry.
He says about, he watched his dad, who was very brilliant trumpet player and who could hold a room in conversation and everything. Like, people looked up to him. And then he didn't pursue that. And then he became like an insurance salesman, and he failed at that. And he said it's very hard to watch someone you love fail at something that was their backup plan anyway. You know what I mean? The thing that it's not he's most passionate about. But after you just said that,
it is allegedly. It is allegedly.
So are you making all your creative endeavors around what you're doing at the moment, like interweaved with your musical project? Like, is it all going in the same?
I think so. I think I write to, like, I say I'm writing a book, but I think I just write to get ideas out. And then within the things I've written, like, maybe I'll write a 5-page rant about some sort of philosophical thing I think about, but then I'll be like, oh, that's it. And then I'll start writing lyrics within that. And so it's like this, like, 50,000 word document where it's like, pages and pages of rants, and then a couple of poems, couple of lyrics. It kind of just, it's just my shit coming out of my brain. So yeah, it is always all to direct towards Veptune and direct towards, I just know like all these things that come out of me, it's like, it'll become a film clip, it'll become this, it'll become that. They're all just there. And the amount of ideas, and you know, they just need to be recorded because they'll just slip away. I do have a song called Ideas Keep Slipping Away, because I was watching the time on Logic, and it was ticking down, and you just see, I'm like, I'm not going to get that second back, never going to get that second back. And it just kept going, and I was like, fuck, dude. And like, you're trying to create this idea, I'm like, it's slipping away. Like, if I don't get this, like, time's running out. So, you know. Yeah.
I find it's always helpful to have my voice memos running. Like,
so many voice memos.
Even things that aren't even to do with music or anything. Maybe they're to do with other things in life. I just have my voice memos there because I'm like, that is a good idea of making that easier.
Yeah.
Remember this, because otherwise it's gone.
So many.
The ether.
The notes on the phone, the amount of like, went through my laptop and went through all the old notes, and like, so many just ideas, just unfulfilled ideas. And it's just like, you just like imagine what you would do with like a real budget from a real label, and just being like, really, I really have the ideas. I really could do this. Like,
why can't you do them now?
I can do them, but everything's money, I feel, at this point. There's a talent, there's an interest, but it's like, it's that work-life balance. It's like, I live in this way where I'm like only satisfied by my creativity, and unless, I guess, the more time I spend doing other things, the less time I've got on that. But the more time I spend creating, the less money I have to fund that creativity. So finding that work-life balance for me is like the biggest thing. I'm so sporadic. So like, this is why I've been like branching out into doing more commercial stuff, like doing stuff with brands, doing stuff with the sound stuff, so I can fucking actually monetize my own art, but through my creativity, not having to go do fucking traffic control shifts or whatever else I've been doing, film jobs, just anything. Like, so not passionate about these jobs because I am so passionate about this. And it's like, you know, I'm 28 and my parents, it's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gotta make it now? Like, it's starting to be like, come on, mate, you gotta fucking make it, or you're gonna have to get a fucking job.
I think it's such shit that now.
It is shit. It is shit. I think it's bullshit.
About the 30 thing, and we had a conversation with the female singer song. Who was it we were talking to? And and she said about how, like, with me, I think 30. I think I'll probably, you know what I mean? She was like, for women, it's like 25, 23. I was like, no, it can't be. And she was like, it is, because there's someone else coming in then, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like, okay, so.
But we live much longer than anyone's ever lived.
It's very
so
true.
why is 26 there? Now it's time to get a job, and you know what I mean? It makes no sense.
It's very true. Yeah, and it's that point right now, like all my friends my age, it's like, it's 50-50. Like, some of them working full time, starting to settle down, get girlfriends, wives. Some of them are just still out in the wild with me, just, I don't know, doing it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with either of them. It's just sticking by your choices and just living it out here. But I still need fucking money to survive, you know, come on. It's like,
I think it's just important to remember too, like Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? Like, you've kind of just got to break everything down into instrumental steps. Like, what are your goals now? Like, what do you want to be doing, say, versus in 6 months' time?
6 month goal is finish the 2 separate pieces I'm working on, which is a full length album, plenty of collaborations, kind of eclectic mix of hip hop, singer songwriter, kind of things. And second to that, a really clean, strong techno EP that I could basically tour and play at clubs and play late at night, and start to gig with the DJ stuff, get this live show, get this album polished, get it produced up real nicely, budget, and just keep moving forward with that momentum and have this very special piece hopefully finish in this next few months. Just something to be proud of, and yeah, just pushing myself and getting it out there, doing things like this, coming to see you guys and going to see as many people as possible, spreading that love around, building that momentum, shooting clips, working with like videographers and other creatives, and just combining it all, bringing it all together. I think that's where I'm going with it right now. But yeah,
I think the short-term goal thing's right as well. Like, as long as what you're doing today is helping you tomorrow, I don't think it's a bad
I
thing.
do get ahead of myself, definitely. I'm just like, whoa, what about everything?
Are you an anxious person?
See my fingernails.
But I think like anxious people and like overthinkers, like I go through it myself. As if I just deal with whatever I'm doing right in that moment and not be thinking about what's coming up or whatever.
Well, that's why music's good.
Yeah, and just live in that moment. It's so much better, because otherwise I don't enjoy anything really, because I'm worrying about what's coming next. You know what I mean?
Well, they say depression is being stuck in the past, and anxiety is being stuck in the future.
Yeah.
It's pretty true, I think. But yeah, I need to stay present with it. I've got things happening. I've got music out, and I'm at a point where I need some help, I would say. So not in terms of making the music, but I'm going to package my stuff up, and there's a few like management companies and labels that I'm interested in, and it's just that extra push of confidence, that 45 minutes, that email, that one email. It's like,
I dread sending emails. The
it's
worst,
so
isn't it?
dreadful.
Yeah.
And like, but when you do it, and when you sit there and you word this email properly, and you reach out to someone and you really put your heart on the line, it always comes back. It always comes back. Even if that person doesn't reply, something always comes back out of that, like putting that out there. And I just have to keep reminding myself that it is okay. I do have talent. I do make music, and I am allowed to want to push myself. I don't have to be, I don't know, like this super ultra humble person that's like just expecting to be discovered without pushing himself or something. Like there is a certain grind that I need to accept and get into.
Yeah.
And that's the part, I think that's the most underdeveloped part of my entire artistry, is that drive and confidence to just really, and that's why I'm so happy to be here today, because it's just like, I'm here telling my story, putting it out. It's really exciting. It fucking feels good. But I think I've struggled with that a lot. And yeah, coming out of this relationship recently, it's been a lot of self-reflection, and also a lot of time to realize that I do have the time and the energy to do that stuff. And I was being held back by this whole 28-year-old coming to 30 thing. Like, are we going to settle down? Let's get married. Let's have kids. Let's be stable.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was thinking kids. I was thinking property. I was thinking this stuff. And now I'm like back to being like, that's not you, dude. That was never you. You never wanted to be that. You always just wanted to be this creative. I don't need that nuclear family. I don't need that. That's never going to be me. And pretending that I am going to be that, that's my downfall, dude. It's a fantasy. It's bullshit. Like,
Well, there's nothing wrong with that coming in 12 years' time.
and
You know what I
exactly, and
mean?
it doesn't
Like-
mean and it
Like,
doesn't mean I will
you
never
don't need
settle.
to want
or-
it right now, but it's like you just need to do what's best for you. And
It's just not my whole identity revolving around who I'm with and how stable that relationship is. Like, my meaning is not that. My meaning is the shit I'm going to do. And I don't care if that sounds selfish anymore. And I don't think anyone should think that that's selfish.
That's
You
why
know,
it
like-
probably wasn't meant to be then.
Mm.
You know?
it's your life.
Yeah, at
It
the end of
is.
the day, like,
It's
you
all
have to
life.
be happy when you're lying on the deathbed one day and say
That's-
that I did it my way. You know,
That is exactly it, mate. That's what I think about every day. It's like, will I be proud of this life? Will I be proud? Will it be worth anything? Not that it fucking matters.
Like, because personally, I want to die like Sinatra and just be like.
It was funny that
I
you
think
did
Elvis.
My Way as well. Then
How did Sinatra die? Assassinated?
I don't know, but
Jim Carrey
but I want to.
allegedly
Killed him.
I want to think that he was there on death's door singing My Way.
For sure. That's life. That's what all the people say. Yeah, definitely. Just like having his own lyrics running through his head as the white lights kind of just.
Or David Bowie's lyrics. If it's
Oh
My
my
Way.
God. That's the thing as well. Like finding out that you're going to die, and then like only a true artist would be like, oh, got cancer. Man, I'm going to write a good album about this.
Brilliant album, that as well.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that Bowie album's
Ghostly.
Yeah,
Ghostly
beautiful.
amazing. Bowie's a huge influence on me growing up.
Do you think about legacy?
Yeah, I do.
But it's funny you think about legacy, but not necessarily
In terms of
family legacy.
family.
Of, you know,
I
this is my grandson who's named after me, Veptune the Third. You know what I mean?
Veptune the Third.
It's not. But you
I
think
mean,
about what impact you leave on the world, not necessarily what.
I 100%
That's
want a
interesting,
family
man.
one day. I do, but it's just like until I've like got this thing out of me, it's. Wait, what's your question again?
So it's about like you do think about legacy. That is there.
Yes,
But
yes,
it's not the
I guess
the
the
normal
word.
type of legacy that people think of I'll have my kids and then I am in those and that.
Yeah,
So on and so on.
From being a third person here spectating, it seems like you're focused in at the moment on like creating your own legacy before
Yes.
you could be a provider for somebody else's
Well,
legacy.
that's it. Like I was in this
That was
relationship.
good, Hamish, by the
And
way.
then
Big
the-
money.
Good NERD song,
Big money.
Provider, Pharrell. And it's like, it talks about this. He's like, if I'm going to be in a relationship, and every man knows this, everyone knows this, like, you need to be at a stable place in your career as a man to be stable in a relationship, because otherwise you're constantly insecure about what you're doing,
100%.
where you're going. And until you've got that sorted, you're not fucking ready to get married and have kids.
Yeah.
You got to sort that out about yourself. Like, got to get your money right. That's what people say. It's true. You just got to get it right first. And I haven't yet. I haven't fucking broke through that glass ceiling that's like so fucking close. And until I do that, I'm fucking by myself. That's what we're doing. And
I don't think that's a bad place to be, because it'll push you and be a driving motivator.
it will.
As long as you let it.
Yes. So yeah, that's the big challenge, is not falling into like my same old savior complex.
Yeah.
Trying to save the girl kind of thing. I'm done with that. I'm
I-
finally done with that.
I wanted to say something before.
Good on you, mate.
One piece of advice that I don't even know if it's advice. It's just
I like
like when you were saying before about, putting out your music, getting part of labels and stuff like that, interested in those people on your side, PR people, great.
Yep.
Go do that. But also like just be like this. I'm also in control of this to a degree now, where people have never been in control, like never had this capability to. You could literally film every day, just like small incremental steps that you're doing with your music, and let people in on your journey.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like on TikTok, Instagram, everything.
I struggle with that a lot.
You
Yeah.
should be on TikTok, by the
Yeah.
way.
I struggle.
I know
I
it's hard, man. It fucking sucks.
I
Like
really
we
do,
when we
yeah.
do this podcast sometimes, and we're like, because we're in the business of creating media content
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's hard to do. It is really
is,
hard. But
yeah.
once you do it and sandpaper yourself down, and you kind of, there's always a little bit of anxiety in my head that goes, oh, people are going to comment on this and say it sucks. And, and that
they never do. I mean,
exactly.
don't. And if
that,
they do, it's something weird about them
yeah.
to do that. Why would you do that?
And also, like, I've realized too, like, whenever I know that we're doing really well, there might be somebody like kind of on the fringe of your relationship who might have something negative to comment on, and then you wonder, is that just jealous? Is that reaffirming that something is
Yes,
happening?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because when they test pilots for TV shows, if 50% of them hated it and 50% of them loved it, they're very happy with that. But if everyone felt meh about it, they're very unhappy about that. And you'll see that with good artists. They'll polarize people. Like,
well, any reaction's a good reaction most of the time, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It is. And it's inevitable. And if you want to be putting yourself on a big platform, you're going to have to realize that you're going to have a target audience. And you're going to have people that connect with you. But most other people probably hate it.
Yeah.
And that's just what you got to sit with. That's who you are. Like, that's fine. You just...
People are nice on our TikTok and that, though.
Yeah.
I'm always expecting a comment or something, but people are generally quite nice.
Yeah, 100%. I really want to see like you do that, man, because I think it'd be quite good if you just sort of shared your thoughts and you let people in on your journey and you just kind of approached it like that and let people like the labels and stuff and, you know, try to get them to help you. But as you're doing it on your own,
you're right.
And you can build people and you can get a couple people on your side and then they start watching you and they start following you and then they start coming to your shows and things like that. That's beautiful. And you're growing that organically.
Yes. And the thing with that for me is...
I don't know what you're worried about. You're a good-looking dude, man. Like, it's not like you've got genetics on your side. You're one ahead.
The thing is, like, did you see Kanye going crazy on Instagram this week?
Oh, where he said, what did he say?
Oh, he said some
Kim's always got diarrhea.
He said that. He said, he's like, where's my fellow sperm donors at? Travis Scott, where are you at? Like, crazy funny stuff. But say what you will about him, he doesn't follow the rules about social media. He obviously doesn't have to because he's one of the biggest artists in the world, but he has never followed the rules. He never did. He was always himself. So when it comes to, yes, sharing more of my story, I want to make sure that it's not fucking cringe. I hate cringe. And it's, how do you avoid it being fucking cringe? And it's like...
It's cringe because you're doing it, right?
It
is cringe.
It's cringe.
Right. Hi, guys. Just want to jump on today and tell everyone about why we love clipping our toenails.
Yeah.
There's no way of doing it without it being that way. And people accept it.
Yeah.
Because my friend Mamadou, Cappy, shout out, he said to me, I don't like seeing that on Instagram or like anything. He said, but you're trying to make a business.
He's very like, true. You just got to cop it. I know.
He's like, I accept it because I know what you're trying to build. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think, although when you see it, it's not like your friend said about Love Island before. It's not like, you know, you're just like, hey guys, try and lose weight this week with insert weight loss regime, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're building your brand and trying to sell you to the world. I think people will be okay with it, and you should be okay with it.
I think
you should just treat it like you're learning to ride a bike, in the same way that it's like it's gonna be cringe when you first were learning to ride a bike. You fell off a couple of times and you hurt yourself, and you got back up and you learn how to ride a bike. It's the same thing. You're gonna look back on probably anything you do with a little bit of why did I do that? Like that's but I think that's just growing pains, isn't it? Like it's just kind of like we do that all the time. Like I go back and watch our shit or listen to our stuff, and I'm like, but it's just like, okay, well, just don't do that again. Just try to learn from it, try to grow from it, try to realize whatever it is that's making your eye twitch.
That's it.
Plus, you've got this amazing thing as well of like who you are as an artist, right, out in the world. So I could discover your music, which is like you've landed on some big playlist and that in the past, right? And I could discover that music, but I don't know anything about you. So you're out there and the music is there, and then they go, oh, I like the song.
Yeah. But where's the story? What is it? Yeah,
who are you? You know what I mean?
And that's why we're here, to tell it, I guess.
He's here.
Yeah. That's it. We're doing it.
But once that comes across, you'll win, man. Because as you said, you're a handsome man, you got a good story, and I think people buy into it.
100%. Just tell my story. That's it. I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah,
it's actually, it feels like a therapy session. Yeah. I'm loving this.
This is what this is. If we didn't release these, it would just sound like therapy tapes. That's what it would sound like.
I'm gonna speak to my mum's quite Christian, and I haven't really been, but she reckons that her current minister is a absolute amazing like biblical scholar and incredibly intelligent. I might start having conversations with this guy and like talking through this stuff with him and having this like kind of like minister dude in my corner. We'll see how he is. Like she reckons he's pretty good, and like I'm interested in like having this mentorship relationship and this kind of I need conversations like this to keep affirming and keep breaking through, because I guess my confidence has been wavering because I've been in something in the relationship that we tended sometimes to break each other down. And I think a relationship will do that, especially if I'm, as I said, not providing, I'm not at that point. So I'm constantly frustrated and insecure. So there was constantly this tension around me wanting to focus on this too much, not focusing on this enough. And now that that's kind of not there, I think I really can, as I said, if I just keep on keeping on, keep telling my story, taking it one step at a time, like you said, I think I'm feeling quietly confident about everything that's floating around. And I really appreciate you guys saying that about.
I think you're gonna be just fine, man. Like it's hard, but you're pretty raw right now anyway, right? Because breakups just make you
raw as shit.
It's the worst. But you're gonna be at a point now where like emotions and a lot of music's coming out here and a lot of things are trying to escape. Because really, the best time to write is to break
Unfortunately,
up. That's when your best.
It's my first album. It's just a breakup album. Yeah, and it's kind of cringe, but it's not. It's like that's where the raw shit comes out. It's when I sing well.
That's when your best things come out.
Yeah.
But you know you've got so much going for you in the sense that like I love when you played me some of your music and some of your demos when we were around at yours, having a cup of tea. I was just like amazed by your singing voice.
Yeah.
As well. And I was like, who's singing? You went, that's me. And I went, shut up. Because it is really, really good. And I think I like what you're doing with this new concept of an album as well, of, you know, of changing it up from what you've done before.
To be. It just has to. It's not exciting.
Because I'd listen to you just play a guitar and sing. You know what I mean?
And I don't want to lose that part of myself either.
Yeah, and I think if it's in there, it helps it, man, as well.
That's why I brought the guitar today.
He's brought a guitar.
Yeah. All right, is that a pod?
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to promote while you're here?
Latest single, Gore Hill, is out on my Instagram. I'm not releasing it on anything except that. If you want it, you have to DM me.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it.
What's your Instagram?
Veptune with a _ underneath it at the end of it.
It's somewhere in there. Just type it. There's not many Veptunes out there. There's not many Veptunes out there.
There's not many Veptunes. There's not many at all. No one's heard that word before except me. Yeah. In my mushroom state.
Mushroom, a cup of tea. But yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Like, it's awesome to have this. And
it's really fun.
Yeah. You happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Thank you everyone for watching and listening at home. We've been West Underground. Leave us a big like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Tell your friends. Tell your lovers. Tell your mothers. Thank you very much. This is Veptune.
Thank you.